The encounter begins. Jay Carter was just an ordinary space engineer. He lived in a small apartment, worked long hours, and loved fixing broken satellites. He didn't believe in aliens, magic, or anything strange. To him, the universe was quiet, cold, and full of logic. But everything changed one Thursday evening. At exactly 7:03 p.m., the sky over Earth turned deep purple, not blue, not red. Purple, like a bruise stretching across the heavens. It lasted only 30 seconds. Cars stopped. Planes almost crashed. People ran outside and pointed their phones upward. News stations screamed, "Breaking news," as scientists struggled to explain what happened. Jay stood on his rooftop, eyes wide, holding a cup of cold coffee. He wasn't scared. He was curious. He ran downstairs to his basement where he kept his personal space scanner. It wasn't a fancy machine, but it worked well enough. He checked the readings. Something was wrong. An energy signal. Not from a satellite. Not from a planet. It was coming from above Earth. And it was alive. Jay tried to send the data to his work team, but the power cut out, total darkness, and then a sound, not loud, not sharp. It was more like a whisper of wind, but inside his mind. Jay Carter. He turned around fast, heart pounding. No one was there. Just then, a soft blue light filled his room. It wasn't from a lamp or any machine. It came from the ceiling. The light grew brighter and wrapped around him. Before he could scream, the floor disappeared. Jay was floating. His body lifted into the air, pulled by the light. He tried to move, to yell, but his voice didn't work. His arms felt heavy. His heart raced. And then, silence. Jay woke up on a cold, smooth floor. It wasn't concrete. It wasn't metal. It was something he couldn't describe. Like glass, but warm. He stood slowly, looking around. He was in a giant room. The walls curved like a shell, glowing faintly. Symbols floated in the air, written in a language he had never seen. The air smelled like sweet ozone. Soft hums echoed through the space. This wasn't Earth. Jay took a few steps. The floor didn't make a sound under his feet. He called out, "Hello?" His voice echoed, but no one replied. Then he saw it. A tall door, opening by itself with a slow hiss. He walked toward it, heart beating hard. The hallway beyond was filled with floating lights. It stretched far into the distance. As he walked, he felt a presence. Something watching him. Not cruel, not cold, just curious. After a few minutes, the hallway opened into a throne room. Yes, a throne room. At the far end stood a tall, elegant figure. Her skin shimmered like silver under moonlight. Her eyes glowed with soft blue fire. She wore a dress that moved, like water, and on her head sat a crown made of living light. She was not human. She was more. Jay stopped walking. He couldn't breathe. The figure stepped forward slowly. Her voice came like a song, clear, soft, and calm. "You are awake," she said. Jay swallowed hard. "Who are you?" She smiled gently. "I'm called many things. Queen, goddess, destroyer. But to you I am simply the Empress." Her eyes locked with his. Jay couldn't move. "Why me?" he asked, barely able to speak. She walked closer. "Because you are the one." "The one for what?" She tilted her head. "For everything that is to come." The room went silent. Then she leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You're exactly my type, human." Jay's heart almost stopped. Before he could speak, the room turned dark again. And just like that, the story began. Her secret plan. When Jay opened his eyes again, he wasn't in the throne room anymore. The space around him had changed. He now stood in a smaller chamber, round in shape, filled with strange floating crystals. They pulsed with a soft blue light, like a heartbeat. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. A voice echoed from above. "Do not be afraid." It was her again, the Empress. Jay turned slowly. She stood behind him, her expression calm, unreadable. Where am I? He asked. A memory chamber, she said. Your mind needs time to accept what it has seen. Jay looked around uneasy. You took me from my world. What do you want from me? The Empress didn't answer at first. She walked slowly around him, her bare feet making no sound. Then she stopped and said something that made Jay's skin crawl. Your world is in danger, but not from me. Jay narrowed his eyes. You expect me to believe that? She stepped closer. 5 planets have already fallen. Ours is next. Unless we act. Jay stared at her, confused. What does that have to do with me? She looked at him with strange sadness in her eyes. Our survival depends on a bond. Between a human and an Ilari. Ilari? Jay repeated. My kind, she explained. We were once a peaceful race. Now we are hunted by something older than time. We cannot fight it alone anymore. We need a hybrid. Jay laughed once, bitterly. So what, you want? To make some kind of alien human baby? The Empress tilted her head. No, not a child, a weapon. Jay stepped back, shocked. You've got the wrong guy, he said, but the Empress didn't move. Your DNA is rare. Your mind survived the first contact. Others didn't. Jay froze. Others? We tested many, she said. None lived, more than a few hours. Their minds broke. But you are still whole. He felt cold all over. What happened to them? The crystals around him flickered. Images flashed inside them. Faces, humans, screaming, machines, energy pulses. And then, silence. Jay turned away, heart racing. You killed them. The Empress looked down. They were sacrifices, necessary ones. Jay clenched his fists. I'm not helping you. You already are, she said calmly. You are still breathing. That means your bond has started, forming. Suddenly the room shifted. The floor shook. Lights dimmed. A siren sounded, low and deep. The Empress turned sharply. Her eyes glowed brighter. They're here. Who? Jay asked. The others, she whispered. The rebels. They want to stop the ritual. A door opened behind her. Guards in black armor rushed in. One handed her a glowing cube. She turned to Jay. You will be taken to a safe chamber. Do not resist. Wait, what ritual? What are you really doing to me? He shouted. She didn't answer. She simply looked at him and smiled. A cold, slow smile. Then everything went dark again. Hours later, Jay woke up in a glass room. It floated in the middle of a vast, hollow space, like being inside the belly of a giant ship. Outside the glass walls, he could see other chambers. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Each one had a person inside. Humans, some unconscious, some moving, some screaming. He pressed his hands to the glass. What is this place? He whispered. Then a whisper came from behind. You're not the first. Jay spun around. There was another person in the room. A man, older, pale, eyes wide and tired. Who are you? Jay asked. Name's Ryan, the man said. Been here 6 months, maybe more. Lost track of time. Jay stepped closer. What do they want from us? Ryan laughed softly, but it was hollow. Your brain. Your blood. Your choices. What do you mean? They don't just need a human, Ryan said. They need the right kind. The kind that feels something for her. The Empress. She's not just looking for DNA, she's looking for a connection. Jay frowned. You mean, like love? Ryan's smile vanished. No. Worse. Trust. Later that night, when the lights dimmed and the ship quieted, Jay didn't sleep. He waited. Then when he was sure no one was watching, he looked under his bed. A small panel. Loose. He had seen it earlier. He opened it and crawled into the dark. Space beneath. Cables. Wires. Hot air. He followed them, crawling for what felt like hours. Until he reached a hidden lab, and what he saw there made his heart stop. Rows of human bodies, some alive, some not. Machines pumping glowing liquid into their veins, screens showing DNA strands, brain waves, emotional patterns, and in the middle of the lab, a replica of himself. Jay stared in horror. It looked like him. Exactly like him. Same face, same scars, same age, except its eyes were empty. A shell. What the hell? He didn't hear the footsteps behind him, but he felt the hand grab his shoulder. He turned. It was her, the Empress. Her face was not soft now. It was cold, sharp. You weren't supposed to see this, she said. Then she raised her hand, and everything went black. The hidden lab Jay woke up gasping. He was no longer in the lab. He was strapped to a soft floating bed inside a glowing blue room. The ceiling above him shimmered like water. The lights moved in slow waves, trying to calm him. But inside, Jay felt nothing but panic. What did he see? Was that really a copy of him? How many more were there? He tried to move, but soft straps held his arms and legs down. The room was quiet. Not even the humming sound he had grown used to was there. Only silence. Thick, cold, and terrifying. Then the door opened. Not the Empress this time. A man in dark, silver robes walked in. He had pale green skin and long, thin fingers. His eyes had no pupils, just solid white. A scar ran down his cheek. He did not look kind. "You have interfered," the man said. "You saw what you were not meant to see." Jay struggled. "Who are you?" "I am Archivist Ven," the man replied. "I collect truth and erase those who find it." Jay stared at him. "What is she doing? What's in that lab?" Ven walked closer. "You saw the husks, copies of you. They are the failures." "Failures of what?" Ven leaned in. "The ritual. It has been done 17 times. Only you remain whole." Jay's mouth went dry. "Why?" Ven tilted his head. "You care, that is the variable. Others feared her. Some loved her. But you, your heart is still questioning. And that human is rare." "What does she want from me?" Jay asked again. Ven paused, as if choosing his words carefully. "She wants to become something new. She cannot do it alone." Then he pressed 2 fingers to Jay's forehead. A sharp, cold pain shot through Jay's skull. Visions exploded in his mind. A different planet. Burning. Alien children crying. Soldiers marching. The Empress kneeling beside a dying king. Her father, her taking the crown. Swearing to never feel again. A glowing pool of ancient energy. The merging pool. Dozens of humans pulled inside it. Screaming. Their bodies twisting, changing, dying. Jay screamed. Ven pulled his hand back. "This is her secret," he said calmly. "She is not saving your world, she is using it. If she succeeds, she becomes something far worse than what hunts us." Jay blinked through the pain. "What hunts you?" Ven stepped away. "A shadow, older than time. We call it the Void Mother. It consumes energy, worlds, stars. The Empress made a deal with it long ago. Now she wants to cheat death. And I'm the key?" Jay said, voice shaking. Ven nodded. "Your connection makes her real in your world. She wants to be part human, so your species cannot reject her when she arrives." Jay lay still, heart pounding. Everything he believed was now burning. She had lied. The kind eyes, the soft voice, the whispered words. "You're exactly my type, human." It was all part of a bigger trap. Jay took a breath. "Then help me stop her." Ven raised an eyebrow. "You would trust me?" Jay looked him dead in the eye. "You said you collect truth. Let's make this one count." Hours later, Jay sat in a new suit, gray armor made from a living metal. It pulsed with his heartbeat. Ven handed him a thin blade that shimmered like mist. "This will cut through the merging field," Ven said. "But you have only one chance. The Empress must be in the pool when you strike. Jay nodded. What happens if I fail? Ben looked away. Then you will become one of them. Meanwhile, in her private chamber, the Empress sat alone. She watched the stars outside her ship. Her hand trembled slightly. She was not used to fear. Not anymore. But Jay, he made her feel things. Things she had buried deep long ago. Regret, doubt, hope. She closed her eyes and whispered. He saw the lab. He knows the truth. Will he still come to me? Later that night, Jay moved through the dark tunnels of the ship, guided by Ven's map. He passed memory rooms, gene banks, feeding chambers, even a room filled with human clothes and objects, collected over years, as if they had been watching Earth for a long, long time. Then he reached the merging hall, a massive space. In the center floated a pool of blue fire, and she stood at its edge, the Empress, waiting for him. You came, she said softly. Jay held the blade tightly behind his back. I had questions. You never gave me answers. The Empress nodded. Because I didn't want you to run. Jay stepped closer. Were any of your words real? She looked sad. I don't know. I stopped knowing the difference long ago. Jay's hand tightened on the blade. You lied to me. Yes, she said. And yet, here you are. Because I have to stop you. The Empress took a step toward the fire. Then do it. If you truly believe I am a monster, strike me down. Jay raised the blade. His hand shook. She didn't move. Her eyes were calm, open, human. Jay hesitated. Then, a scream. Ven's voice in his ear. She's changing. Do it now. Jay stepped forward, but the Empress whispered, or, come with me. Let us become something the universe has never seen. And for a moment, Jay saw it. A world with no war, no pain, no fear. But at what cost? He closed his eyes and made his choice. The rebel inside Jay didn't remember falling. One moment. He was standing near the merging pool, blade in hand, facing the Empress. The next, his world shattered into colors, fire, and sound. His body felt like it had been torn apart and stitched back together in a blink. He opened his eyes to find himself somewhere else entirely. A dimly lit room. Cold metal floors. No glowing lights. No soft whispers. This place was different. Rough, broken, real. A hand grabbed his shoulder. Stay still, a voice said sharply. They might have tagged you. Jay blinked, still dazed. He looked up and saw a figure, half human, half machine. A woman, scar across her lip. One mechanical arm. Eyes glowing red. She didn't smile. Who are you? Jay croaked. I'm the reason you're still breathing, she replied. Behind her, more figures emerged from the shadows. Humans. Hybrids. One with a breathing mask, another with burns across his face. They all looked like survivors. Tired, but angry. Rebels. Welcome to the Black Cell, the woman said. We're the ones who fight back. Hours later, Jay sat inside a bunker deep within the belly of the ship. The rebels had taken over a hidden part of the alien vessel. Old ruins left from another species long dead. They called it the Forgotten Sector. The Empress never came here. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she was afraid. He finally learned the woman's name. Kale, former Earth pilot, abducted 3 years ago, escaped a failed merging process. Now she led the rebels. Jay still couldn't believe any of it. I saw the lab, he told them. I saw copies of myself. She said I'm the only one who survived the bond. Kale nodded. You're her perfect match. Emotionally stable, physically compatible, mentally open. She's been searching for someone like you since the first contact with Earth. What happens if she succeeds? Jay asked. A rebel stepped forward. He looked barely 18. Then we all die. Maybe not right away. But she won't stop with Earth. The Void Mother? Jay whispered. Kyle's eyes darkened. We call it that. Others call it something else. But it's real. And it's coming. She wants to use you to trick it. Merge with you, then betray it. If that happens, she becomes unstoppable. Jay finished. Cale nodded. And she'll wipe out anything that remembers who she used to be. Jay stood slowly. I almost believed her. She looked so human. Cale scoffed. She's been practicing that look for decades. Later that night, Jay sat alone in a rusted hallway, looking at the floor. His mind replayed everything. The sky turning purple the first time he saw her, her voice, her eyes, her smile. Was any of it real? You still feel something for her, Cale said behind him. Jay didn't deny it. I don't know what's real anymore. Feelings are real, she replied. But that doesn't mean they're safe. He looked at her. You ever loved someone who wasn't what they seemed? Kyle nodded. Once. Cost me my ship, my crew, my face. Jay looked at her scar. What did you do? I stopped loving her. Then I shot her, Kyle said quietly. Twice. Next day, the rebels planned an attack. Their last chance. The merging ritual was restarting in 24 hours. If Jay didn't stop, before the final phase, his connection to the Empress would become permanent. His body would still be human, but his mind would not. Cale showed him a neural disruptor, small, black, shaped like a coin. Place this near her crown during the ritual, she said. It'll block the link, sever it, maybe even kill her. Jay stared at it. And if it doesn't? Then you die screaming. And she takes your place in the stars. The infiltration Jay followed a rebel squad through the ship's old tunnels. Alarms blared in the distance. The Empress's guards were already moving. She knew something was coming, but Jay had a key. His DNA matched the ship's command systems. Every door opened for him. They reached the ritual chamber. Too quiet, too clean. Jay stepped in alone and she was waiting, not angry, not surprised, just waiting. You returned, she said. Jay took slow steps forward. I had to see it through. The rebels. They showed you things. Yes. They told you I lied. Yes. And do you believe them? Jay paused, then said, I don't know what I believe, but I know what I've seen. She stepped closer. What if I could change? What if I could choose you not as a weapon, but as a partner? Jay's hand brushed the disruptor in his pocket. Then prove it, he said. How? She asked. Stop the ritual. She smiled. I can't. It's already begun. Suddenly, the walls shimmered. The floor beneath them glowed. They were inside the ritual core. Jay's veins burned. He felt his heart racing. Memories of his life flashed in his head. Childhood, college, his father's death, the stars. You're merging with me, he shouted. I'm giving you eternity, she replied. Jay reached for the disruptor but froze. He saw her eyes again, not glowing, not alien, just sad. I never wanted this, she whispered. But I don't want to be alone anymore. His hand shook. The device was in his palm now. He had 1 second. Destroy the connection, or join her. Everything slowed down. Her hand reached for his. His fingers touched the disruptor. His heart said one thing. His mind said another. And then, he made his choice. The DNA ritual Jay Carter always believed choices were simple. Yes or no, stay or leave, fight or run. But standing in the heart of the ritual chamber, surrounded by living walls and ancient machines, with the Empress reaching out to him and the neural disruptor burning in his hand, he finally understood the truth. Some choices break the soul. The chamber pulsed like a heartbeat. Strange lights floated through the air like fireflies. Jay's body felt heavier, like gravity was pulling harder. Something ancient was awakening, and it had his name written in its core. The Empress stood before him, beautiful and terrifying. She wasn't speaking now. She was listening, waiting for him. 5 seconds earlier, he had raised the disruptor. It would end the connection forever. But then he saw it, her tears. They weren't dramatic. not shining crystals. Just 2 drops sliding down silver skin. "I'm tired," she had whispered. "Of ruling, of fighting, of being a myth. I wanted something real. I thought, maybe you could be that." Jay had hesitated, and hesitation was enough. Now the ritual had begun. A platform rose beneath Jay's feet, lifting him into the core of the chamber. Glowing threads of energy wrapped around his arms, legs, chest, not painful but powerful. Alive. He tried to move. Couldn't. He tried to scream. No sound. The Empress floated in front of him, her body wrapped in the same threads. Her crown burned brighter now, almost too bright to look at. Her voice entered, his head not spoken but felt. "We merge in 3 stages: memory, soul, body." Images exploded in Jay's mind. Stage 1. Memory. He saw her past, not as a queen, but as a child, hiding under a glass table while her homeworld burned, her mother screaming, her father, the last king of Alari, facing a black shadow that swallowed light itself. The Void Mother, a creature made of hunger. It whispered to her too. "Serve me and I will let you live." She said yes, and it never left. Jay felt her pain, her loneliness, the centuries of lies, the wars she started, the worlds she watched die. And above all, her hope. Hope that one day she could feel human enough to forgive herself. The memories hurt. They weren't just shown to him, they were given to him. He knew her now, and she knew him. Stage 2. Soul. The chamber shifted. Suddenly Jay stood on a field of stars. No floor, no sky, just endless space. The Empress appeared beside him, not in armor, not glowing, but as a woman. Quiet, fragile. "This is the soul space," she said softly. "You can still walk away." Jay looked down. In his hand, the disruptor. It had followed him here. "If I destroy this," he asked, "what happens?" "We complete the merge," she said. "I become more. You become different. And if I don't, then we both remain broken. And the Void Mother will find another." Jay thought of Earth, of his apartment, his quiet life, his sisters, laughter, the stars he used to dream about. "Do you feel guilt?" he asked. "Every day," she whispered. "Then show me your truth." She nodded and touched his chest. He saw himself through her eyes, his first moment aboard the ship, his fear, his confusion, but also his strength. How he stood tall, how he questioned her, how he refused to give in. She hadn't lied about one thing. She admired him, genuinely, deeply, maybe even loved him. Stage 3. Body. The chamber roared. Liquid light poured down from the ceiling, filling the space like rising water. Jay couldn't breathe. His skin felt like it was glowing, melting, rewriting itself. DNA strands danced in the air, his and hers wrapping around each other like vines. Cells changed, nerves rewired. Something inside him screamed and whispered at the same time. He was no longer fully human, and not yet alien. He was between. A bridge. The Empress cried out as the light reached her eyes. Her crown cracked. Her body bent backwards, but she didn't fight it. She accepted it. Jay screamed once, and everything went white. Silence. Then he woke up. On the floor of the chamber, alone. His skin looked normal, but he felt different. A strange heat pulsed under his bones. He could hear machines in the walls, feel the thoughts of others near him. He stood slowly, breathing hard, and then a voice. "Jay?" He turned. Kale. Bruised, bleeding, holding a plasma rifle. "What have you done?" she whispered. He opened, his mouth to speak, but his voice echoed like thunder. Not one voice. 2. His and hers. Fused. Outside the chamber, the ship trembled. Alarms blared. Rebels fought soldiers in the halls. Explosions shook the floors. Ven screamed orders as fire lit the corridors. Chaos had begun, but inside the chamber, Jay stood in silence. Kyle raised her weapon. "You're not him anymore," she said. Jay stepped forward. "I am," he said, "but I'm also more." The Empress was gone, or perhaps she now lived. Inside him merged a new kind of being. He looked at Kale with glowing eyes. "I can still help Earth. I can still stop the void." She aimed at his heart. But at what price? Jay didn't answer, because part of him, deep down, didn't know anymore. The ship was falling apart. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Fire danced along the walls. Rebel forces clashed with the Empress's guards, plasma bolts lighting up the shadows. Bodies dropped. Smoke spread. But Jay Carter stood still inside the heart of it all. His skin no longer felt like his own. His heartbeat echoed through metal. His thoughts moved faster than ever. He could see into systems, into patterns, into people. The ritual had changed him, not just physically but completely. And she was still there, her voice in his mind. The Empress, not loud, not cruel, just quiet, patient. "You survived the merge," she whispered. "You are more than human now. You are evolution." Jay touched his chest. His skin felt warm, but beneath it something else moved. Energy, memories that weren't his, feelings he couldn't explain. Was he still Jay Carter? Kale stood 10 feet away, gun shaking in her hand. "What are you now?" she demanded. Jay looked up, and for a moment, his eyes flickered. Not blue, not silver, but something in between, something new. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I still remember who I was." Kale's face was hard. "You were a fighter, a protector. Not this." Jay took a step forward. "I didn't ask for this." "No," she said. "But you let it happen." They stood in silence. The ship trembled again. Elsewhere on the ship, the Void Mother's signal arrived. Not through sound, not through ships, through space itself. Time bent. Reality rippled. Stars near the vessel blinked out. Gone, eaten. No warning, no sound. Just erased. Ven, the archivist, stared at the scanners. His face was pale, voice shaking. "It's here." Back in the core, Jay felt it too. A black pressure in the back of his mind. Something old. Something cold. It was approaching. Not fast. Not slow. Just inevitable. The Empress whispered again. "Merge with it. And die. Stand alone. And fall. Or become something even the void must fear." Jay dropped to his knees. The energy in his blood twisted. He saw 3 futures at once. Future 1. He lets Kale destroy him. Earth survives barely. The Empress dies forever. Humanity wins, but remains weak. The void returns in 1,000 years. No one is ready. Future 2. He flees. Becomes something hidden. A myth. The last bridge between species. Lives in exile. Watches Earth from afar. Alone, never known, never touched again. Future 3. He finishes what she started, absorbs her fully, becomes the first human Ilari Prime. Not a weapon, not a ruler. Something beyond both. A god. Or a monster. Kale's voice broke through. "You still have a choice," she said. "Help us stop it. The void, the Empress. All of it." Jay looked up. And for a moment, he saw her truth too. Kale had once loved someone who merged. He had lost himself. She had to kill him with her own hands. "I don't want to kill you too," she whispered. Jay stood. His hands glowed, not with fire, but memory, knowledge, energy from 10 worlds flowing in his blood. He took the disruptor, the one he had kept hidden, and handed it to her. "If I lose myself," he said, "use this." Kale didn't take it. Instead, she lowered her weapon. "We do this together," she said. Jay nodded. The final planvan joined them moments later. "The Void Mother is feeding," he said. "We have minutes, maybe less." Jay touched the walls of the ship. They responded. For the first time, the vessel bent to his will. He looked at Kale. "We can't destroy it. We can only trick it." "How?" she asked. Jay closed his eyes. "It only feeds on fear, so we give it something else." They moved fast. Jay sent a false signal, a psychic echo of the Empress's presence amplified 1,000 times, a perfect illusion of godhood, the Void Mother noticed. And it turned. Jay felt it focus on him, all of it, like the gaze of a black hole. "Don't stop," Kyle said. His bones felt like they were breaking. His skin steamed. His mind stretched wide open. But he didn't stop. Then, it arrived, not as a ship, not as a being, just nothing. Space folded inward. Reality cracked. Kale screamed, then collapsed. But Jay stood in the center of it, arms open, mind open. He let the void see him, not as a target, not as prey, but as an equal. What happened next? No one could explain. For 1 second, the ship blinked out of time. Then, silence. No stars. No fire. No void. Just Jay. On his knees. Alone. Kale opened her eyes. Her hands shook. "Jay?" He looked at her and smiled. Not her smile, not the Empress's smile. His. "It's over," he said. "You stopped it?" she asked. Jay stood slowly. "No," he said. "I became something it couldn't touch." On Earth, 1 week later, no one remembered the sky turning purple. No one remembered the ship, but in the forest of Canada, a man walked alone. Clothes torn, eyes glowing faintly. A baby deer approached him. He reached out, and it calmed. He smiled, then disappeared into light. New empire. 7 months later, the world had returned to normal. Or at least, it believed it had. No one remembered the sky turning purple. No one remembered the missing people, the alien ship, or the whispers in the dark. The governments called it a solar flare anomaly. The news forgot. The internet moved on. But in quiet corners of the world, strange things were happening. Babies born with bright blue veins, teenagers suddenly understanding languages they'd never heard, birds changing migration paths, satellites vanishing without damage, just gone. And in the middle of it all, a whisper. His name. Jay. Deep space, location. Unknown. A new ship floated between galaxies. Not built by human hands. Not a Larry either. Something in between. Something evolved. Jay stood at the helm. No armor. No crown. No weapon. Just presence. His eyes glowed softly. Silver with flickers of gold. A heartbeat echoed through the walls. Not his heart, but the ship's. It moved when he breathed. It thought when he dreamed. He wasn't alone. She was still with him. The Empress. But not as she was. She was no longer a voice in his head. She had become a part of him. Like a forgotten memory in his blood, or a thought at the edge of sleep. "You were right to choose this path," she whispered within him. "We can protect so much more now." Jay didn't answer. His thoughts were louder than words. He had merged, yes, but he had kept his soul. Or had he? He wasn't sure anymore. On Earth, Kale now lived off the grid. No phones, no tech. She grew her own food, watched the stars, and kept a locked metal box under her bed. Inside it, the last neural disruptor, just in case. Every now and then, she had dreams of him. Jay, standing in the sky, arms open, light pouring from his chest. He never spoke, just watched, almost like he was waiting. In orbit, something shimmered invisible to telescopes. A seed ship, not warships, not scouts. They looked like floating petals. Organic, alive, pulsing with soft light. Each one carried genetic data, not weapons, but gifts, advanced healing cells, knowledge of clean energy, weather control systems. Each one aimed for a different part of the world: Africa, South America, Antarctica. No one saw them land, but once they did, people began to change. The first contact, a young girl in Brazil touched one of the fallen petals. It melted into her hand like warm snow. That night, she cured her brother's cancer, just by holding his arm. In Kenya, a shepherd found a stone that hummed in his palm. When he spoke to it, his animals understood him. In Finland, a blind woman woke from sleep seeing colors no human eye had seen before. The gifts were spreading, and so were the questions. Unbuilding, New York, panic world leaders, argued behind closed doors. Scientists demanded answers. Religious groups called it prophecy. Military leaders spoke of invasion, but none of them could deny it. Something was changing the human race, and no one knew how to stop it. The message, then, it happened. Every screen, on Earth, every phone, every billboard, every laptop, flickered and went black. And a voice spoke, not loud, not cruel, just calm. Jay's voice. You are not being conquered, you are being invited. The universe is vast, and it is listening. We nearly lost everything, but a choice was made. Now you have one too. You may remain as you are, afraid, divided, fading. Or evolve. Rise, join us. A new empire begins, not of power, but of purpose. The screens blinked. Off. Silence followed. But in the hearts of billions, something stirred. Not fear. Not even awe. Hunger. Kale's cabin, she turned off the radio, stood still for a long moment, then walked to the metal box under her bed. She opened it slowly. Inside, the disruptor still hummed softly. It had never lost power. Her fingers hovered over it, but she didn't take it. Not yet. Deep Space J stood before a new world, unnamed, untouched. Behind him, thousands of seed ships followed like stars. He looked ahead and whispered, "We build it different this time. No empires, no lies, just life." His hands opened, and the first seed fell. Final twist. Years later, a child was born on Earth. No records, no father, eyes glowing with twin rings of gold and silver. When he touched the ground, flowers bloomed in snow. His first word wasn't mama. It was, remember, the end.